What makes some people more interesting than others? That's what we'll talk about in this video. I've become so boring. My life is boring, I'm bored, and it started before the pandemic, but it got a lot worse. And I feel like it's time to do something about it. I used to have an exciting life. Like I took 10 gap years between high school and university to travel full time. I swam with whale sharks, I did scuba diving, I even hitchhiked alone in Morocco. Like I did a bunch of cool stuff. But since I finished university a few years ago, I've focused a lot more on building my business than having fun. And now I feel so bored, and to be honest, I've become really boring. Although I do think that being interesting is very subjective, I do also believe that there are a few traits that make people more interesting than others. So let's see 7 ways we can become more interesting people and live more exciting lives. The first one is kind of obvious, it's to be more interested in others. I developed social anxiety during high school and I had difficulty connecting with people. And my mom used to tell me, be interested in people. They'll be more interested in you if you're interested in them. And based on my experience, it's true. For others to be interested in us, we must first be interested in them, in their worldviews, in what they do, in their lives. We can ask them questions about their opinions, how they feel, maybe what project they're working on, and we can listen to them more than we speak. Most people love to receive attention. The second thing is to be an avid learner. Avid learners tend to know a lot about different topics, which helps them to connect with people from different backgrounds. For example, it's probably easier for them to make conversation at networking events. I'm not suggesting that we should learn about topics we really don't care about, but maybe you can pick like 3 to 5 topics that interest you and then try to learn a little bit about each topic every week. You could find podcasts on each of your favorite topics and then listen to them when you walk somewhere or when you commute to work. You could also read books or watch documentaries. The idea is that the knowledge we gain can then help us to engage in conversations with people at work, at events, or at like birthday parties. I'm an information addict, so I have no difficulty learning about things, but recently I tried to sort of expand my field of interests and go beyond like spirituality and metaphysics and entrepreneurship and include more like wellness podcasts and travel podcasts to my playlist. And I found that being exposed to new topics and new ideas is sort of stimulating. Next is to be more curious and willing to try new things. So this one is a bit similar to the previous idea, but also a bit different. It's more about trying new things or experiencing new things, and sometimes outside our comfort zone. I didn't do it this year, but usually I do monthly experiments. At the beginning of each year, I choose 12 experiments, one for each month of the year. For example, I tried a laughter yoga class, which was very uncomfortable for me. I tried a cacao ceremony, sound healing, paddle boarding, cross-country skiing. I got a tarot card reading and a bunch of other things. Another way we can try new things is to eat at different restaurants or maybe cook different recipes, like more exotic recipes, or work at different cafes that we've never been to, or just anything else that brings us out of our routines. Next is to be more spontaneous. Spontaneity is another trait that makes people interesting. Have you ever seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey? I really love this movie. The main character, played by Jim Carrey, is suddenly forced to say yes to every opportunity. He finds himself in situations or concerts and meeting people he would have never encountered being his usual self. It's a fun movie that I found very inspiring when it comes to being more spontaneous and saying yes more often. And it's based on a book and it's inspired by a real story. I used to be very spontaneous and my life was way more fun. Like I once went to Spain on a whim just because I liked flamenco music. And I did that kind of things very often in my 20s. But nowadays I'm not that spontaneous anymore. Actually, I'm not spontaneous at all. And I can feel that my life is a lot less exciting and probably a lot because of that. So I do think that spontaneity plays a big role in making life richer. Something else that tends to make people more interesting is passion. The energy of passion can give someone a very special glow that makes them attractive. Even when their passion doesn't really interest us, just to hear someone talk about their passion is sort of inspiring. Now, perhaps you think, but I don't know what my passion is, or I don't have a passion. Well, the thing is, a passion is something we cultivate. It begins with an interest or a curiosity, and as we explore our object of curiosity and learn more about it and then maybe meet people who share that same interest, then it can develop into a passion. Basically, a passion is an interest that we nurture. As I mentioned earlier, doing monthly experiments could be a good way to explore new things, to discover new interests that could potentially over time become passions. Next is to feel safe being you. So to be interesting, we must also be authentic. And to be authentic, we need two main things. First, we need to know ourselves, our values, what we stand for, and our preferences, and we need to be comfortable with those things. And second, we need to feel safe, because authenticity is who we are when we feel safe. When we try to be someone else, it's because we don't feel completely safe to be ourselves, to be our true selves. Now, to feel safe requires self-esteem, self-compassion, and self-confidence. I think the most important one is probably self-compassion. And that's a topic for an entire other video, but let's just say that to be interesting, we must be authentic. And to be authentic, we must know ourselves and we must feel safe being ourselves. And the last thing I want to mention that tends to make people more interesting is having a strong sense of purpose in life, or a mission, or something that matters to you. It's similar to having a passion, but usually a purpose is connected to something bigger or like greater than yourself. Like it can be your family, your community, it can be a cause that matters to you. Having a strong sense of purpose gives you direction in life. It gives you clarity, and it gives you a certain magnetism that's similar to having a passion. Actually, passion and purpose are usually very connected. I have a free guide I can offer you to help you figure out your purpose and your calling. It's called the Life Purpose Formula. So I'm going to link the guide in the description below if you want to use it. I hope this video was helpful to you. It certainly made me think. I think the first thing I'll do is to do a new list of experiments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week.